And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the American Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. It is Astrea. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran. It is Percival. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. You know what time it is, baby, as the Gamba is open. It's Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck in the chat. As opposed to the previous game, there is not as much of a clear favorite. I mean, I still do favor Astrea in this series, but Percival is definitely, I should say, the skill gap between the players is much, much smaller than it was previously in the first round, and I can definitely see this going to the ace match as well. I mean, I say that is based off of off of at least Percival's skill before he had retired. Nowadays, as I mentioned, I have not actually experienced much Percival, so I'm excited to see what he has to offer. Here we go. As for now, we do have Astrea just opening up. Should be gate expand into Cybercore, or just gate Cybercore into expand. Standard opener nonetheless out of Astrea. Likewise, back across the map, Percival opening up single gas. So one gas opener here out of Percival. What does this mean? This means Rax into a CC on the low ground. It is going to be an economic opener out of our Terran player. He had the option to open up more aggressively with double gas. He opted not to, as he should soon be expanding. Ooh, interesting. Percival cutting a couple more corners here. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but Percival, he canceled his units. He canceled the Marine and did start the Reactor instead, so no unit here. Upon canceling the Marine, that means that this probe is being a lot more annoying, and there we go, does delay the expansion for a couple of seconds. I want to say like 1 or 2 seconds at most, but Percival can now expand, and again, Percival, he is cutting corners. Now, thankfully, he does not skip the Scout. SV does get across the map, but he won't have the initial Reaper. As the reactor is just now finishing up, factory is now on the way. And across the map, the SV does get eyes on the opener, on the tech of choice, or not quite the tech, but at least on the setup. And Percival, he races back home. He confirms, okay, there's nothing crazy going on early on. He's safe and sound. Percival, he does come back home, again, getting into Marine production. Behind this, as a reminder, because of no Reaper, that means that Percival, he's going to have a later scout when it comes to the tech, when it comes to the Stargate or the Twilight Council, and there it is, it's going to be a Twilight Council opener out of Astrea. And Percival is going to be in the dark, at least for the near future. Like, he has no real way of scouting the tech and figuring out what Astrea is up to. Not yet. Adept does dive in, nice control so far out of Percival. Will zone away the Adept. Up! As one Marine goes down, just the one. With that, the Adept, I believe, saw the add-on swap. Yep, did get eyes on the add-on swap. We do see Percival getting surrounded, though. Here extends. Yeah, this was not it. He was not expecting a second Adept. And with that, every Marine is going to go down. Massive pickoffs. Astrea now with 2 Adepts can now threaten the natural base. Can shade in. And is going for the SCV. He doesn't delay the expansion, but he gets an SCV kill. Takes down 3 Marines. Can he trade with the Hellion? No! Oh my god, despite the repair, the Hellion goes down as well. Astrea getting so much value here early on. And now he reinforces with another Stalker. Gets a lot of hits off on the Hellion. We see Percival, the goal here with the Hellion is to rush into the base to scout. But there's a full wall. Yeah, there's just a full wall off here for Astrea. No units to defend, but there's no way in. So the Hellion cannot scout. Stalker gets across the map, denies mining time. And is going to get 2 more SCVs. Jesus. 2 more SCVs go down. From here, Percival, he's trying to stabilize. He's getting into a 1-1-1. This is a very common or very popular build here amongst the Korean Terran, so it makes sense that Percival would do this as well, going tank Banshee. Now, even though Percival has had a really rocky start to the beginning of the game, and that is true, this is a rocky start for Percival, but going into Banshees is going to give him a way to bounce back here. If Astrea doesn't scout, if Astrea delays his Robo, which he isn't, the Robo is on the way, detection as well, but if Astrea is out of position, then these Banshees can wreak havoc, and the Banshees, they can do so much damage across the map, and they can allow Percival to recover. But there's a lot riding on these Banshees, is what I should say. There's a lot of pressure here on Percival to get damage done. So there is a way into this. Behind this, Astrea just expanding, I believe 2 gate? No, 3. Okay, so 3 gate blink here from Astrea, very safe opener into a 3rd. Pushes in towards a natural. Ooh. We'll get 2 SCVs. I believe 2 SCVs for 1 Stalker. Yeah, 1 Stalker goes down. Not the best trade from Astrea. Did lose a Stalker in the process. Meanwhile, you can see Percival, he's trying to wait for that second Banshee. 2 Banshees, they one-shot workers. So just waiting for that one-shot potential before moving out. As it's going to be on Astrea to contain. I say contain, he can't even blink into the main. Again, he hasn't seen anything in the main base yet. Cloak does complete. And does he spot the Banshee as it pops out? There's going to be 2 tanks here in the main. There's the add-on swap Banshees, they do get away. Astrea, he rotates towards the natural. No bunker. Uh-oh. He wants the tank. He wants it. He's going to get it as well. 2 volleys, they take down the tank. Nice juggling so far. Doesn't lose the Stalker. Takes down the tank, gets behind the mineral line. Once again, good control. Oh, 1 Stalker goes down, 2 Stalkers even. But this is worth it for Astrea. Gets 5 SCVs, takes down the tank. Keeps Percival busy. Second tank does arrive. And again, Percival, he did cut corners, not throwing down the bunker. Meanwhile, across the map, here come the Banshees. But they're on A move. They're on A move. They attack the building itself. They get 2 probes so far. And there's the recall. Again, every second counts. Astrea, he does race back. Getting in position. Banshees, yeah, they're going to be cleaned up. They get 5 probe kills, which is okay damage, but we needed more. Percival did need more damage here. He's still behind in the worker count, still behind in the economy. Gonna be forced back. I mean, Percival, he did a great job when it came to hiding the builds, but unfortunately, the execution of the Banshee harass was a little bit lackluster. And with that, Astrea, he still maintains his lead. Once again, diving on the tank. We'll bring it down. Trading 1 Stalker. 1 Stalker for the tank. Juggling back. Just keeping pressure on Percival. And Percival, he may just be forced into a 2-base all-in. I wouldn't be opposed to it, to be honest. All the upgrades are about to finish up. Stim, combat shields +1, they're all done in a couple of seconds. And because of how much damage Percival has taken, it would make sense for him to just pull the boys. But he's going for the 3rd CC. He's going for the 3rd CC. The other thing about potentially going for a 2-base all-in in this kind of game state... Oh my god. As it doesn't get a Stalker. But the problem is that the tank count, right? Like, typically, if you go for a 2-base all-in, you want, like, 3 tanks behind your army. But because the tank count has been whittled away at, there's only 1. Only 1 tank for Percival, so he has no pushing power. So even if he wanted to all-in, he really can't. As with 1 tank, what can he accomplish? So he's forced to expand. He's trying to be active. Catches out a Stalker, not bad. But he gets punished for it. Medevac goes down, tank will siege, tank will fall. The Colossus does overextend, Colossus goes down. A little bit greedy there by Astrea. Again, you have to respect those Marauders. It's Percival, he's going to be rallying across the map, killing a lot of Stalkers actually, distracting Astrea. 2 probes go down, another Colossus does arrive. This wasn't the cleanest fight for Astrea, but he can afford to, oh god! As he blinks into the minefield. But he can afford some mistakes like this. Like, he can afford to trade a little bit inefficiently. As Astrea still has the economy. Banshee got 4 probes in total. Not bad. Now getting a 5th. Will get away. It's Percival. Hey, he's still in this. Gets some counter damage. Setting up for his 3rd. Going for a mine drop as well. Astrea, ooh, he will barely get eyes on the mine drop. And if you heard, but a shout out to Astrea, he is, I'll be honest, he's the only player in my however many years of casting StarCraft, he's the only player that I know that plays with White-Ra. That was the White-Ra announcer. The only one. So shout out to Special Tactics. Ooh, mine drop goes off, takes down the Prism. War Prism goes down. As that's going to be cleaned up across the map. Mine shot's going off. They do catch Astrea off guard. 9 probe kills. 9 probe kills so far. Getting up to 11. For 4 Widow Mines, not a bad trade here for Percival. We'll try to spread out those Widow Mines. But last they should be hunted down. do have Percival moving out. Reestablishing his third. Astrea getting his own fourth base. Building up his Colossus. And with all that economic damage being done, I mean, it has built up over time. 21 probe kills. I mean, there's a world out there where he doesn't get that damage and he's down 20 workers, which would be insane, but Percival, he is maintaining himself. He's maintaining his economy. He defends back at home, being somewhat active on the map. I don't believe that Percival can fight head-on yet, but he's building up, and likewise, so is Astrea. He's giving Percival time to recover. 4 CC on the way. Ghost Academy as well. Percival just needs more time. He needs time for Ghost production. Once Percival gets into Ghost, depending on what he's up against, Percival, he can take a fight. But not this early, not this soon. As again, Percival, he might have all these Vikings, but Astrea is already working towards Disruptors. Now, thankfully for Percival, I believe Astrea only has 1 Robo. Yeah, only 1 Robo so far, so only making 1 Disruptor at a time. Percival, he rotates over towards the 4th. The Colossus gets caught out. The A move! Colossus goes down for free! Very nice damage. Colossus does fall. 1 Colossus left. At the same time, Zealot run by into the mineral line. SCVs are going down. He can't afford these losses. The SCV, sorry, the Zealot's still going ham, getting 9 SCVs. The 1 Zealot. And Percival, he races back home to defend, taking his 4th base. And Astrea is looking a little bit vulnerable with his lack of splash damage, but here comes that second Robo. Like, this is the big production building that was missing for Astrea. Now with the second Robo, he can build up and max out with Colossus, with Disruptors. So second Robo is on the way. Until then, Astrea, he's reliant here on a very heavy gateway army, which can be quite intimidating unless you have Ghosts, right? EMPs can make short work of this army, as long as they connect well. Decent EMP. But you can just see how far behind Percival is here when it comes to that supply. I can't get a caught out like this. Now the Marauders. Medevacs go down. Marauders as well. We come in for a flank. We snipe the Disruptor and the Colossus. But what about the Gateway Army? What about the Zealots, the Stalkers? As Astrea, he will chase Percival down. The Ghosts are exposed, and there's just not enough here. There's just not a supply, not enough numbers to protect the Ghosts to fight against this army. And Astrea, he will just overwhelm. And again, Percival, he just needed more time. Alas, he didn't get it. Astrea took a lead. He maintained that lead and never fully let it go. GG gets called, and Astrea will take game number 1. GG. Astrea does take a lead in the series. Again, Astrea just had a really strong early game, and Percival, he never quite recovered, to be honest. He never recovered from the other game. He was always perpetually 1 step behind, at least 1 step behind. And he did a good job when it came to bouncing back. There were some really good moments when it came to the second Banshee harass, when it came to the Widowmine drops, when it came to catching out some key units like the Colossus. There were definitely some really nice moments for Percival, but in between those good moments, we still had Zealot Rumbys getting SCVs. We had Astrea sniping medevacs. Like, Astrea, he had the freedom to, I should say, he could afford and he had the freedom to take some earlier losses and still maintain the lead nonetheless. GG. GG, well played. And again, Astrea, it wasn't like he was resting on his laurels either. Was always going for Rumbys as well. And with that, that takes us into game number 2. And we'll see if Percival can bounce back. We'll see if Percival can have a cleaner and more comfortable early game as well to be able to embrace the mid game, especially after what we just saw. I want to believe that once Percival can get his economy up and running, once he can get up to 3-4 bases, like, hey, he can take it here to Astrea, but getting there is going to be the issue. We'll see if he can. Here we go. Always love watching Astrea. Yeah, Astrea, he's always a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun. He's an amazing player in his own right as well. So getting ready for our next match. Meanwhile, it looks like we do have some updates here in the brackets. We do see Rebellion taking down Matt 2-0. Folkster takes down Gemini 2-0. So the initial round is wrapping up, and we're getting into round 2. Round 2 is when the heavy hitters are finally going to start facing off against each other. I mean, we're here in Astrea versus Percival, for example, but we also have some other matches going on. We have Dark versus Folkster, Zound versus Nicaract, Hero versus Rebellion, Cure versus Shameless, Shin versus Honmono, Geralt versus Trigger, and Maxfax versus his soon-to-be determined opponent as well. Oh. We'll just submit to some DMs. Okay, all good. Yeah, with that, GG well played. Oh, we just got an update, by the way. Mute did take down Akidon 2-1, and now he's up against Maxfax. So the entirety of the first round has concluded. Now we have round 2 underway. Typically, when we start in a section of the bracket, we do continue in that section of the bracket. So if you want to tune into some of these other players on the other side, then you can check out some of the other streams. We're going to be focusing on Percival versus Astrea, and that's going to lead us into the winner of Dark versus Folkster, and that's going to lead us into the lower semifinal. So we're sticking here to the lower half of the bracket. Again, if you want to tune into some early rounds of Shin, of Cure, Shameless, Trigger, Maxfax, then hopefully that's being covered by some of the other casters. They have you there. They got you there. As for now, it looks like our players are... They need some time. Our players do need a moment here. We're more than happy to give it to them. All good, all good. More than happy to. It was an intense game one, Pappy. It was intense. And here we go. Now we're getting into game number 2. It's going to be on ley lines. Have that second game. Ley lines, of course, is a relatively defendable map. It's smaller, though. It is a smaller map in the map pool. I say that. Relatively similar rush distance compared to Ultra Love, which is what we got into in game 1. But now we're getting into game 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. Again, he is the returning retiree, if you will, the veteran. It is Percival. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the American Protoss player. We have the Red Protoss himself. It is Astrea, leading the series 1-0. And we'll see what he can get done early on. As a reminder, he was able to pick off a lot of SCVs, he was able to delay mining time, and more importantly, pick off and reset the tank count time and time again, just getting so much value early on, and that did kind of strip away a lot of any aggressive potential that Percival would have had in the early game. He had to rely a lot on his harassment instead, which was relatively successful. I'm referring to the Banshee harass and to the Widowmine drops. They did well for themselves in the end. But we'll see how we approach game number 2 from the side of both players. So far we have our initial probe scouts. And likewise, single gas opener once again out of Percival. This should be a Rax into expansion. If you remember last game, Percival, he skipped the Reaper. He went Reactor first into Marine production. This time, Reaper is on the way. So Percival, he's adjusting his opener. Again, he should be expanding. There's that CC on the low ground. So economic opener overall here by Percival. We can see him scouting for a proxy gateway, making sure he's safe and sound. And the Reaper allows him to get across the map and ideally to scout the tech, to get eyes on the Twilight Council, the Stargate, or the Robo. And just keep tabs on Astrea. And keep the initial unit at home as well. Reaper moves out. Ooh, that is a second Rax. Okay, you have my attention. This could be the beginning of a 3-Rax. This could be the beginning of a 2-1-1. Percival has potential here. We'll see if he throws down another Rax or a factory. As Reaper does slip into the main. Twilight Council has been placed. Reaper pokes in, is zoned away by the Stalker. So Astrea doesn't lose any workers. He does keep his tech hidden. We can see Percival rotating around. Oh, once again though, zoned away. And back at home we have confirmation. Yep, we have a third Rax. This is very old school. It's been a while since I say old school. It's been a couple of months since I've seen a 3-Rax, I think, in this matchup. So it's good to see it once again. Now, the purpose of this opener, the purpose of this build from Percival is a very strong stim timing. The goal here is to build up Marines, build up Marauders, and hit with stim before Medivacs, as the factory and the starport are delayed. They're delayed in favor of these extra Raxes, in favor of the extra Marines and Marauders. I emphasize Marauders, so the way this works, depending on what you scout, if you're up against a Stargate, if you're up against a Stargate opener, then you need more Marines, you need more anti-air, you can get away with a heavy Marine army. If you're up against a Twilight Council, then you need more Marauders, as a Gateway army can actually kite very nicely against Marines, so you need those Marauders to hunt down those Stalkers. As we do go for the dive, and Percival, he does not get eyes on the tech. The goal there, I mean, the Reaper was going to die one way or another. Percival, he wanted to try to get a read on what's going on. Here comes Hallucination across the map. Astrea, he's expanding. How many gateways? He's on 2. Very greedy 2-gate blink into a 3rd. Very greedy build here by Astrea. We'll see if Percival can punish that greed. For now, though, he's still trying to figure out what's going on, and Astrea, he will soon confirm the build of choice. Hallucination dives in, gets eyes on 1, 2 Raxes, and the 3rd Rax as well. So he confirms 3 Rax. He does get eyes on all the researching upgrades, stim and combat. So yeah, stim and combat shields. The Hallucination, there's a salvage. The Hallucination does confirm that this should be a Twilight Council opener. Otherwise, you'd just be scouting and harassing with Oracles or Phoenixes. And again, we need more Marauders. Marauder production has begun. Marines moving out. Remember, they have no stim. These are vanilla Marines. Up! Oh, does he get one? Barely does not get a Stalker. And this is exactly what you need to do in this situation with the side of Protoss. Is Astrea, his goal here is to chip away at this army as efficiently as possible and just slow it down before it gets across the map. Oh. You see Astrea trying to catch reinforcements. He's picked up how many? 4 Marines so far. He hasn't lost a single Stalker. So very nice control out of Astrea. You can see he's just bullying this army. He's going for the Marauder. Oh, no. Again, so far making good use of the tall grass of the shrubbery. Does keep the Marauder alive. Very nice control. Oh, he stims in. And already this is great damage because Astrea, he just forced a stim. Will lose a Stalker though. He did fly too close to the sun, so a bit of a mistake there from Astrea. But regardless, 1 Stalker for all this value. I mean, it's worth it. Looks like a 2nd Stalker is going to go down. Ah, there's another stim. And Astrea should not escape. Comes in from behind, forces another stim. Ay. The blinks. The blinks are there. Astrea, he gets the hell out of there. He pulls away. And Percival, he's reinforcing with more Marauders. But again, this move out is designed to hit the 3rd, but he's been forced to fight out here in the open in the middle of the map. He's been forced to stim multiple times. His Marines have gone down one after the other. And now Astrea, he's bought enough time. Now here comes the Immortal. He should have a shield battery. Yeah, there we go. We have a shield battery here at the 3rd base. We have a sentry for force fields. At this point, it has taken too long for Percival to get across the map. And what's important, as time goes on, Astrea, he has a fully saturated 3rd base. The 3rd base is getting fully saturated, now getting into Colossus production, now getting into more upgrades as well. Astrea, he survives. He is able to keep up. Behind this, Percival now expanding. As he's looking for a way in. Oh! Trying to rotate over, bleeding out more Marines. And behind this, he will soon have support of Medivacs. Medivacs are on the way. Remember, the starport and the factory were delayed. But now they're coming. That Percival does go towards the 3rd, sorry, the 4th even. Once again bleeds out Marines. What I will say, has Percival lost any Marauders? 1. He's lost 1 Marauder so far. 15 Marines. Aye. But at least his Marauder count is building up over time. Building up a hefty Marauder army. Here we go. Medevacs have finally arrived. They've got a lot of work to do. That's the army is very battered and very bruised. Force CC on the way. Percival going for a fast fourth. Again, he's trying to get into that mid game. Astrea now with 2 soon to be 3 Colossus. He's perfectly fine. As long as he's in position, Astrea, he can take a fight. But so far, Astrea, he does not spot the army rotation. Percival dipping in between the bases, going for the natural, going for the gateway. Gateway goes down. But Percival knows he cannot push in. So he has to play it safe. Picks up a building, backs up. Percival rotates towards the left-hand side. Splitting up his army gets spotted. Astrea getting in position, he reinforces. So far, good responses by Astrea. Percival, he's looking for the observer. It's like, where are you? Oh, Astrea, a bit of a misread. He doesn't see the army rotating towards the right-hand side. Yeah, Astrea, he's in the dark. He's racing back over. He's out of position. He needs a little bit more time. Looks like Astrea, he will get here in time. Does get here between the bases. Ludwine goes down. That is a tell for Percival that there is an observer in the area. Second Robo into Disruptor production. Oh, the Temple Archives as well, working towards Archons and Storm. You can see, yeah, he's looking for the observer. I mean, looking for the army as well. But he misses the observer. Astrea, he sees the rotation. He is aware, going for a Zealot run back across the map, getting SCVs. Astrea late to respond though. Yeah, late reaction, the Robo gets depowered, the Bay goes down as well, massive pickup. Does bust into the mineral line. Probes are falling. He does get away. Oh my god. Yeah, barely gets away. Nice damage here by Percival. At the same time, those Zealots, no, they bust into the natural, they bust into the main. SCVs are going down. This was good economic damage. You got what? 10 probes here at the natural, but he's losing SCVs. And even though Percival, he at one point had a worker advantage, not anymore. Yeah, not anymore. Zealots are wreaking havoc. They force Percival all the way back home, and here comes the main army of Astrea, looking to knock down that third. Astrea, he's pushing in. Percival somewhat in position. Somewhat. Astrea collapsing in the army. Shaving off those Vikings. And the run by as they continue. And Percival, he's just being overwhelmed. He's just being completely overwhelmed at this point. Astrea, he can't be stopped. It does push forward. Nova doesn't quite connect. And there's still Zealots in the main, by the way. They're still in the main base. They're still not been cleaned up. Zealots, they hit the natural. Third base is forfeit. Percival, he was just pulled apart. Again, the opener of Percival was lackluster. When you go for 3 racks like that, you do need to get some damage done. Alas, he wasn't able to. Was doing well positioning his army, and again, going for the dive into the mineral line, it was good, right? He killed the Bay, he depowered the Robo, he got like 10 probe kills. It was good damage. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite as attentive back at home. And everything just snowballed out of control. And now Astrea, he's about to max out. Now, thankfully, it took a while for Astrea to rebuild that Bay, so because of that, his Disruptor and his Colossus count is still very low. Still very low. It's not where it otherwise should be. You have Storm? He does. But despite that, I mean, he makes up for it with a Gateway army. It's fine. Zealots, they go for the third. The main army pushes in towards the 4th Nexus, or the 4th Planetary. Zealots, they bust into the mineral line. Vikings, they do well. They take down the Colossus, but the Storms! The Storms are brutal. Colossi go down, but alas, it's still a terrifying army here. A terrifying Protoss army. As Astrea, he did wreak havoc. The mineral line goes down. All the SCVs at the 3rd. The main army was merely a distraction. Now Now Astrea, he does push in. Does take an EMP to the face. There is only one disruptor and no storms. Astrea playing with fire. Has to back off. There we go, the bay is done. And now Astrea, he's making 2 disruptors at a time. Getting ready for another Zealot run by. Oh, nice EMP. Nice EMP, but there's no meat here to the army. There's a handful of Marauders, handful of Ghosts, barely any Marines. Again, due to all the economic damage, I mean, we just can't really afford much of an army. Percival, he's barely holding on. The army's overstimmed as well. And we go for the dive. Massive storm on the buy. Oh my god, the storm is brutal. And from here, Astrea can just roll over the army. There's just not much to stop him. GG gets called, and Astrea, he will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the quarterfinals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, Astrea. He does take it again. Really good scouting, really good response out of Astrea. Once he realized it was a 3-Rax, he was so active. He was just in Percival's face. I mean, we saw it, right? With Astrea just picking off Marines, forcing stims, delaying any kind of aggression. As I mentioned, typically with a 3-Rax, you want to be pushing into the bases, punishing the 3rd base, pushing to the natural, getting more than just trading with the army. And even then, the trades weren't ideal for Percival either. And alas, he did stumble his way into the mid-game. There were some nice moments once again for Percival, at least when it came to his positional play. There were some nice moments, but alas, you know, Astrea, he was able to respond in kind and yeah, get away with his Zealot run-bys. The Zealot run-bys were just brutal. The Zealot drops even. They were brutal across the map. Time and time again. Once the ball started rolling, didn't really stop. Didn't really stop. It did roll in favor of Astrea. With that, GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Astrea does claim the series, and now that leads us into our next series. Oh boy. And we need to figure out where exactly we are and what's going on.